We all set to go, folks?
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Kehoe. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida. With me at the podium is Matt Fodor. He's a special agent in charge of the FBI for the Miami Field Division. This week, the Middle District of Florida grand jury indicted Salvatore Russotto for threats he made against the United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba. The defendant was arrested this morning in Orlando in connection with that indictment. By way of background, on May 19, 2005, ex-user at Risotto Sal, who was later identified as the defendant, made a series of threatening posts on X social media platform, including, "How about 86 Alina Habba?" Keep in mind this took place shortly after the controversy in the media about the use of 86 and what 86 actually meant. The next, a slow, painful death for Habba. Eliminate Habba, 86 traitor. Death penalty for all traitors. I hope you die a painful death, to name just a few. Many of those threats are listed in the indictment, but frankly, at this press conference, they are much too vulgar to quote. An investigation by the FBI showed the defendant resided in Orlando and was using an IP address in Orlando. The FBI and the United States Marshal Service took immediate action to identify Risotto and ascertain that Risotto had in fact made the threats in response to perceived official actions by United States Attorney Habba. The two-count indictment that you have before you alleges that the defendant transmitted interstate threats to injure the victim, U.S. Attorney Habba, and that the defendant was retaliating against U.S. Attorney Habba, a federal law enforcement officer, by threats. The allegations in the indictment that I have summarized to your allegations, the defendant is, in this case, as in all cases, presumed innocent and until proven guilty. As an aside, make no mistake about it, and the word should go forth, that if you threaten to kill or injure any person in the Middle District of Florida, our office, in conjunction with the FBI, our other federal law enforcement officers, and state and local officers will partner together to identify, pursue, and federally prosecute you. You will be held accountable under the laws of the United States. We will stop you from threatening victims and from following through on those threats. Our highest priority is to keep our community safe. In this case, our law enforcement partners, FBI Tampa, FBI in Newark, where U.S. Attorney Habba resides, and the United States Marshal Service demonstrated that disrupting threats of violence is also a top priority in each one of their agencies. Threats of violence not only impact the victims, but they impact our entire society. And they impact the very fabric of our society. I want to take a moment to directly call out the harms that threatening federal officials have caused, including U.S. attorneys and their staff. And by just talking about the federal family, I don't mean to leave out state and locals, because our state and local partners receive threats on a routine basis. But in the federal level, in addition to U.S. Attorney Habba, the last month has seen the United States Attorney in the Northern District of New York threatened by a defendant wielding a knife and who is illegally in the country. Another man was recently arrested for sending threatening communications via email to the U.S. Attorney's office in North Dakota. The United States attorneys are not alone, and agents are not alone. Our office, in conjunction with our law enforcement partners, have prosecuted threats against the President, members of Congress, members of the judiciary, and law enforcement officers just for doing their jobs, and all in the last 6 months. According to a recent New York Times survey, 277 judges, almost a third of our federal judiciary, have been threatened in the last year. I say this to everyone. Our office stands with our federal partners and state and local law enforcement and are committed to combat these threats of violence. Many years ago, the former director of or Secretary General of the United Nations, and he was a Swedish diplomat. He was a very wise man. His name is Dag Hammarskjöld. He noted this: freedom from fear could be said to sum up the whole philosophy of human rights. People in our country have the right to live free of fear. No one should live in fear because of threats of violence. We will work aggressively to disrupt this criminal behavior. If you threaten another person with violence, you should expect that our office, with local law enforcement, federal and our state and local partners, will take you at your word, whether those threats are made in person, on a social media platform, in a letter, or otherwise. Otherwise, we will hold you accountable for your crimes, and we will protect the members of our community, and we will do everything we can to do so. If I can turn the podium over to a moment for Special Agent Matthew Fodor's comments. Matt.
Thanks, Greg. Good afternoon. I'm Matt Fodor, Special Agent in charge of the Tampa field office, FBI field office. I am fed up with this reckless and dangerous behavior. Posting threats online will not provide you with a disguise or distance. And it doesn't matter who you threaten, public official or not, when you hit send on that threatening post, you will face the consequences. Federal, state, and local law enforcement work as a team to identify and arrest these cowards. We communicate, share resources, and share in the mission to protect the American people. In this case, our partners at the U.S. Marshal Service identified the social media threat against the U.S. Attorney in Newark, New Jersey, and contacted the FBI, as they should. We immediately enlisted help from our Joint Terrorism Task Force, which located the subject in Orlando, and with the assistance of Orange County Sheriff's Office, Orlando Police, Florida Highway Patrol, and the Federal Air Marshals, the subject was taken into custody this morning. This swift response demonstrates the priority we give these threats. It proves that we're not going to tolerate these nasty and aggressive postings in the Middle District of Florida or anywhere in this U.S., in the United States. And it also illustrates the law enforcement partnerships to back that up. We have the capacity to deal with this. Make no mistake, we'll take every action possible to deter and protect our communities. Thank you.